Hi there. So this is part of the Journey to Life blog series, and if you don't know what the Journey to Life is, then I suggest to check out the Facebook page of which I will place the link below this video. So today I'm reviewing Marlon Life's Marlon Vargas del Razo blog, and the title is Either Do It or Die. I'll place the link in the description box below so you can have a look. And in this blog she discusses particularly procrastination, but specifically in how she had previously lived this character of being a responsible person and always doing things on time and always doing everything showing everyone that she's a responsible person. And whereas now she noticed about herself that she had been procrastinating certain things and kind of moved over to the other side of the polarity, which is like procrastination, and she starts to write about her dream. So that's pretty cool how she used her dream to and what happened in her dream to actually read into this character, this new character that she basically stepped into as the opposite polarity of the responsible person. And the reason why I'm talking about this right now is because it's also something that I noticed with myself, like in process, and it's something like it's like a trap. It can be a trap where I used to be like also wanting to show how good Wally, how good I am doing in process, and like doing all the chores and doing everything on time, and doing reading the Journey to Life, the Heaven's Journey to Life and Creation's Journey to Life blog every day, and doing my readings every day, but more from a point of basically feeling good about myself, about like my reputation that I'm building up for the other Destonians. And so obviously within that, that's not self-honesty, so it's easy to then fall into the opposite polarity where there may come a point where I just go like, oh fuck it, and I just don't do anything anymore, like a point of rebellion even, because my starting point in what I was doing was ego anyway. So I wasn't actually expressing myself in what I'm doing, in my chores, in my daily tasks. So I suppose that's also a little bit like religion, like fanatic religious people. They're just on one side of a polarity point, like the fanatics and the good guys, and the ones who are apparently, or maybe like politicians, like the responsible ones, the ones in the suit, the ones who know everything, the ones who know best, and those that work really really hard to show everyone that they are the elite and they are the examples of the rest of the world. And then what you have in the world is then obviously the other side of the polarity, like the hippies and the activists and the ones who fight the systems, and the anarchists, and the ones who feel out of place and weird, and who feel like they don't belong in this world, and who feel like they don't fit into the social rules, and they have problems with following the social rules, blah blah blah. It's just two sides of the same coin. So that's fascinating that just simply exists within ourselves as well. So neither of it is really a self-expression of who we really are. It's just a form of reputation, a character that we play. So I'm just going to read some self-forgiveness statements that Marlon has written here. I forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed myself to fear losing any form of reputation as being a responsible being without realizing that such character was also driven by fear. And this is the time wherein I am in fact realizing what self-movement actually is and implies for the very first time, and that judging myself for it won't do any better for it. Within this, I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to believe that I will be judged by others for not having been consistent within my application, without realizing that I was perfectly aware of it, and the deliberateness of it linked to this single point of allowing myself to be driven by the force and believing that I had it all sorted out, which is actually the same point of ignorance is bliss that many people may create as positive thinking, without realizing that I was doing exactly the same thing when talking myself out of taking responsibility for a single point that is here as my responsibility to be done, and within this belief that there is no consequence to it for others but only myself, which is also a point of self-interest and deliberately shoving aside the fact that I am actually aware of how everything that we do and don't do does not only create a consequence for myself but creates a consequence at the level of the whole. And within this, I forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed myself to lose my ground, and actually having deliberately created this stance of all is well within me, wherein apparently I was not caring about it and about getting something done, without actually seeing that the masquerade of all is well was stemming from actually seeing the actual fear that created it as a realization of time as consequence being directly proportional to the amount of time I've shoved aside this point, which is time looping at a maniac rate. I forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed myself to actually not even dare to be honest towards myself in relation to actually taking this point by the horns, because of not wanting to expose myself to myself for the actual stupidity that it is to leave a task, assignment and evaluation aside, believing that somehow it could not be relevant to my reality any longer, which is quite the excuse to not actually not take responsibility for myself and my creation. I forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed myself to now that I'm writing it out, actually experience a constriction in my chest and experience the heaviness as an energetic experience of fear in relation to seeing how long I have in fact excused myself out of this point and not given proper direction to it, within the belief that I would someday eventually do it and manage to get it all perfectly done as I had done in the past, without considering that the past is not here as myself, and that I cannot rely on past patterns that require an actual doing and giving direction to it within my reality, whereas before I would see them as an extension of who I am as such point of taking on a responsibility and committing myself to it. When and as I see myself going into fear and petrification when realizing the consequences of everything that I've done or haven't done, I stop and I breathe. I instead direct myself to not overthink about it and create yet another experience towards the pattern of procrastination, but instead commit myself to do it. And this is not for the sake of keeping or sustaining an idea of myself, but it is in fact part of what I had committed myself to be, do and become in my reality, wherein I am in fact then aware that it is a physical point to do within the current system that we live in, and that it doesn't matter if it's required or not. It's a point for me to take on and get it done no matter what, as I see and am aware that it cannot be pushed any further away in time than this. Yeah, so thanks Marlon for this blog. It's really assisting and supporting for me as well. And so everyone check it out and enjoy. Thanks.